The irony of him saying it shouldn't be ruled by bureaucracy when there's a talking point that he bought the election so that he could enact his will on America.
He can't say that.
Sir, you can't
Is he
say that.
allowed to say
I'll
that?
say it louder.
Elon Musk seemed to do some sort of press conference, or not a press conference, but some sort of round of answering questions in the Oval Office. And while I was watching, I was like, this is so strange. I've never seen anything like this. Granted, I don't keep up with politics super closely. I'm the average American. I tune into the things that are interesting to me, and when it's not interesting, I tune it out. But I'm watching Elon answer all of these questions, and all I could think, I'm watching Elon answer all of these questions, and the only thing I could think is, why isn't Trump being briefed and answering these questions? I know he can't know every single thing that's going on. He can't be an expert on everything. There are going to be people that he defers to, but just watching him basically turn over the reins to Elon, I didn't like it. I didn't like the way that it looked. You can feel how you feel about Doge or President Trump. That's up to you. I'm just saying the optics of this. During the discussion, Elon did say some things that I did like. We're going to get into those a little later in the video, but let's check out what I saw, and you can tell me if you liked it or not.
He's gone.
So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we've had a great discussion, terrific discussion concerning Gaza and everything else. We had discussions also about Saturday at 12 o'clock. It's going to be a big moment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect much happening with these people, but we'll see what happens. And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's Doge, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said, we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. And we want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that.
The existence of Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, which we've said over and over, and it's been discussed, Doge is not an official government entity. Elon is there in the capacity of an advisor, which is fine. I don't mind that, the president or the administration is consulting to get emphasis and get understanding on things that they don't have an expertise in. Elon Musk, he runs $1 billion. He operates companies that are worth hundreds of billions of dollars. He understands about how to effectively manage people and streamline the business so that it can be efficient, it can run. Even if you don't like his cars, the businesses are valued, or Tesla is valued at hundreds of billions of dollars. Actually, I don't know. Ever since he did that salute, it's been taking a hit in the market. So I don't know what the valuation is right now, but I'm invested, right? So I want the company to do well. I believe in his vision for Tesla, and I'm hoping that he's doing the right thing over there at Doge. But President Trump is entrusting the Department of Government Efficiency to cut down on some spending that the federal government is doing so that we stop having this inflated national debt, digging ourselves deeper and deeper into a hole. And Elon is there and the team at Doge is there to try to cut back on that. I don't have an issue with that. What I have an issue with is the amount of control that Elon seems to have.
Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's very serious. I think it's a very serious violation. I'll ask Elon Musk to say a few words, and we'll take some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say, what is the goal of Doge, and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay.
I don't like that. I don't like that he's saying the goal of the presidency. You're not the president. Let Trump speak to what the goal of the presidency is. Yes, that is one of the talking points that he had, cutting down on the government spending, streamlining the spending that we have, making it more efficient, cutting workers. That's what he campaigned on. His base knows these talking points. But I don't like him speaking behind Trump as if he's like a puppet master, telling us what the goal of the what the presidency is for. This is why people have the talking point on the opposite side that Elon bought the election, that he bought the presidency for Trump so that he could control him.
We'd have to, if you sorry. So, tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, or if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the president, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large unelected bureaucracy. This is not to say that there are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to.
When I watched this with my wife, I thought it was very interesting that he said, you want the government to be ruled by the elected officials and not the bureaucracy. The irony of him saying it shouldn't be ruled by bureaucracy when there's a talking point that he bought the election so that he could enact his will on America. And then, like I just said, he's talking for the president, telling us what the goal of the election was, what some of the will of the people is that he's looking to enact. It's not his place to speak on what the goal of the presidency is and what he's trying to enact. That would be President Trump's position, but he's deferring to him, and I'm not a fan of it. He goes on to talk about the goal of Doge, some of their findings, some of the things that they're trying to implement, some things that are coming down the pipeline. One of those things is looking into federal workers that have low salaries comparatively and a very high net worth.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million,
right,
etc.?
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position.
They're talking about Nancy Pelosi.
You know, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps.
I found this funny because he's obviously talking about Nancy Pelosi. She's made a significant amount of money. Her family's made a significant amount of money since 2008, since the Obama presidency. They've made tens of millions of dollars, and nobody in the government has a salary of tens of millions of dollars. Even the president has a salary of $400,000 a year. So where is she getting all of this money? Yes, her husband is a hedge fund manager, but he's got to be the greatest investor of all time with the returns that they've been getting and how they're able to jump in and out of investments right before something in the government happens that makes a company decrease its profits or increase its profit. It's so bad that AOC, she was doing an interview with somebody. I can't remember who it was, but she openly admitted that one of the best kept secrets in federal government is insider trading. She said it out loud and openly. And some people were trying to loop her in and rope her in with the people that were doing insider trading. But then it was reported that she didn't file that high of a number, that high of a salary on her tax return. So she wasn't looped in there. But Elon is 100% talking about Nancy Pelosi, among others. I'm not entirely sure everybody that's doing this, but Nancy Pelosi is infamous for doing this to the point where people in the public track her stocks. This is a long video, so I'm not going to talk about all of the points that were made, but there were a few things that Elon said that I liked. One of those things was deregulation. We know there's a lot of red tape in America to get anything of meaning done. And one of the goals of Doge is to roll back some of that red tape so that we can make progress in things. I'm not entirely sure everything that he's looking to roll back. I hope it's nothing that's going to put us in grave danger, but we need to cut back on some red tape so that we can move forward as a country, be able to develop things and get ourselves on the right track, fix our infrastructure.
But with the support of the president, we can cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1, and then with deregulation, because there's a lot of sort of regulations that don't ultimately serve the public good. We need to free the builders of America to build, and if we do that, that means I think we can get the economic growth to be maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%, and that means if you can get $1 trillion of economic growth and you can cut the budget deficit by $1 trillion. Between now and next year, there is no inflation. There's no inflation in 26. And if the government is not borrowing as much, it means that interest costs decline. So everyone's, the mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop.
Let me be honest with you. I don't think, even if there's no inflation in 2026, that we're seeing a decrease in anything. Companies are not in the business of staying stagnant or decreasing their profits. That's just not the way it works. They don't go on a hockey stick, right? Companies are not just making money hand over fist, 50% jumps a year or anything like that. But we're not going to see a decrease in the cost of living. The purpose of Doge is to cut back on some spending and get some things right on track. But I don't think that's one of the things that we'll ever see is prices decrease. Certain things are going to decrease, they're going to fluctuate, but in mass, he's talking about car payments, house payments, all of this stuff. I don't believe that we're going to see that decrease in any significant way. That's where I'm going to end the video. Overall, I did like the talking points that were brought to the public, some things that Doge is doing or trying to do. I just didn't like the optics of Elon Musk looking like a puppet master behind Trump. I don't like it. We got to get that figured out. If he's going to have Elon around, we've got to get this thing figured out where he doesn't just look like a figurehead in certain aspects. If you like the video, subscribe to me back here for the next conversation. And if you have thoughts on the entire press conference, what I had to say, or any of the points that Elon Musk had to say that I mentioned in the video, let the world know. This is the place for discourse. Till next time. Peace.